coming in. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to first start off by taking a look at the potential start time for the winter precipitation. I want to mention once again, this isn't just going to be when the rain starts. You're going to see rain throughout the day. This is just the timing on the winter precipitation part of it. And once again, starting off, we're going to be watching for around that 7 a.m. to noon time frame for your Mena, Mount Ida, areas there, up there, your Ouachita Mountains region. Those general areas are going to be where you're going to be watching for the potential start time on the winter precipitation to start really first thing tomorrow morning. And then as you go a little further throughout the day or towards noon, it kind of gets a little further south there. Then from noon to 4 p.m., from about the Wicks area over to Derricks, just almost to the Nashville area, portions of Pike County, Glenwood, Lake Greason, Kirby, those areas over to Lake DeGray. Arkadelphia, you're right there on the line. Same thing for you in Sheridan from that noon to 4 p.m. time frame, or I would say closer to 4 p.m. there for your Arkadelphia, Sheridan, Nashville time frame, 4 to 5 p.m. on when that winter precipitation looks to start. Then as you go further south in that bright blue color, or that cyan color there for pretty much the rest of the area, you see that 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. time frame. And then across the far southern row of counties, Texarkana, Magnolia, Bradley, El Dorado, probably closer to 10 to 12 potentially. We left it there from 5 to 10 p.m., but once again, could be a little later for you, but everybody will see a transition at some point to some winter weather. Now, once again, I hate to break people's hearts, but everybody this past week's been hearing about winter weather potential, and the first thing you think about snow. Not this time. This is going to be mainly an icing event for us down here in southwest Arkansas. Right now, here's our thoughts on our forecasted ice potential. This is your freezing rain, your ice potential, not your sleet. We have a different map just for that. We're going to go over all this here in just a minute as well. We're going to go over the data behind it and break this down a little more in depth for you. But once again, we're expecting 1/4 of an inch to maybe even a little higher up there or above 1/4 of an inch near the Mount Ida areas, Ouachita Mountains region up there just north of the Hot Springs area. Then there's going to be a range from about Mena down towards Nashville, Murfreesboro, Delight, Arkadelphia to Sheridan, where you see 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch of ice there potentially with this event. This is as of, once again, 5 p.m. today. And then as you go a little further south, you see pretty much a trace to 1/10 of an inch of ice being a possibility throughout the rest of the area. One thing I do want to mention, this is not just going to be a one-day thing and it's gone. Temperatures are going to get cold after this. This is going to be another cold week ahead, and we're going to show you this as well. Wind chill values could be in the single digits, almost below zero in some places, Wednesday morning and Thursday morning. So once this happens, this is going to stick around. That's one thing I want to get across as well. This isn't just going to be a quick and easy, just one-day thing. This is going to stick around for a few days as well. So be prepared before tomorrow there as well. Then potential snowfall accumulation, trace to maybe 1/2 inch. I know we're lower on the snowfall amounts, but it's just basically the northern Ouachita Mountains region looks like where you could see that trace to 1/4 of an inch there. Now, once again, could we get some wintry wintry mix mixed in elsewhere? It's always possible. The atmosphere is a fluid. It's not a it's a fluid, so it's always changing. So just know there's some areas that may see a mixture of all of this, but really right now the main potential looks to be freezing rain, and then some, once again, the far northern portions of our coverage area, a trace to 1 inch on the forecasted sleet accumulations there for your Mena, Mount Ida, Hot Springs area, Sheridan areas, Umpire, just your northern portions of your coverage area, Glenwood, trace to 1 inch on the sleet potential there as well. Remember, your sleets, you're basically your little ice pellets. Your freezing rain's going to look like rain, and I'm already looking forward to the questions. It's just raining. Freezing rain, if the temperatures are below or at freezing and it's raining, that's your freezing rain. Freezing rain looks just like rain, except when it makes contact with something below freezing, it freezes. So just remember that come tomorrow. Once again, I want to show you the potential road impacts as well. This goes through 6 p.m. tomorrow, so this is not including overnight tomorrow. I fully expect other issues, road issues, as we go forward into Wednesday morning across pretty much most of the state there as well into Wednesday morning. But this is through 6 p.m. tomorrow. You have your higher impacts in red. That's where icy roads and temperatures are 32 or below freezing. That's, just where you could have your hazardous conditions at through 6 p.m. tomorrow in those red areas. So Mena, Mount Ida, over to Hot Springs to near Sheridan, Glenwood, those areas where you're more likely to be below freezing throughout this whole ordeal, or at or below freezing. That's where you're going to see your icy roads really start to be a major impact right off the bat. Now, once again, this is only through 6 p.m. So if you're in that green colored area, once again, it's low impacts through that time frame. But I do want to mention, as we go later into the overnight hours, I fully expect more issues across the state and into the morning on Wednesday with road issues and such there as well. The yellow colored area, which is the medium area there, that's going to be your conditions where you got to watch closely. Take caution in travel, just because you're going to be close to freezing in those areas from the start. You're going to be near it, but once again, conditions look to get cooler throughout the day, and you start to get more towards that. You start to see a transition into freezing rain as you go longer in the day. Then that green colored area, once again, temperatures to stay above freezing throughout the day, but ice in the mid-evening overnight time frames there. That's where your low impacts are at. Now, once again, this is only through 6 p.m. tomorrow. Not all day into Wednesday and such there as well. Once again, I'm fully expecting road issues statewide, coverage area wide by Wednesday, just due to the fact that it's going to be cold the next day after that, and it's what falls is going to stick around. That's something to remember. Now, I do want to show you this. I want to break down why we're seeing what we're seeing. You got to remember the atmosphere for snow. You want the atmosphere all the way from the surface all the way up to be below freezing. And you can see this here on this map. You see this this black line here that shows you as you go further up in the atmosphere, your temperature is below freezing on this blue line, and as precipitation falls, it's as snow when air temperature remains below freezing throughout the atmosphere. When you start to get your sleet, you have a shallow area where you have a warm layer at. And what happens is it falls as snow, and then it partially melts, and then it refreezes when you have a deeper cold layer. So what that deeper cold layer is, you basically have cold air at the surface and a little further up in the atmosphere, and then you have that shallow warm air, and then you have a you stay cold up here above that warm layer, but that's what that means for your sleet. Partially melted snow, and then those partly frozen drops refreeze and become sleet. Your freezing rain, you have more of that deeper warm layer, and most of the time the snow completely melts. Pretty much looks like rain. But right at the surface, you have a shallow cold layer, which is below freezing, and as that makes contact with the surface, it freezes. Once again, raindrops become super cooled in that cold air and freezes on contact, causing freezing rain. Now, I do want to show you this on the data to back this up. So what you're going to see here is the model guidance. This is the HRRR 18Z. This shows current temperatures. Arkansas is right here. Here's southwest Arkansas. This is around lunchtime today, and as we go forward, you can see temperatures actually did reach the upper 40s and lower 50s across the Arklatex region. Well, overnight tonight, those temperatures are going to cool. And as we go into tomorrow morning, this is about 6 a.m., 12 a.m. You can see Mena's sitting at 32, 31. You have this area, this northern portions of our coverage area, the Ouachita Mountains region. That's going to be at or below freezing. Elsewhere, you're going to see a cold rain. There's going to be some areas that are going to be hovering close to that. And then as you go throughout the day, you'll start to notice this cold air starts to just drift a little further south as we go into this evening, and really starts to come south as we go into the overnight hours. And then as we go into Thursday morning, look at this. This model has single digits for temperatures, not wind chills, and teens and 20s down here across the coverage area. And that keeps cold air around. And when you look a little farther up in the atmosphere at the 850 millibar level temperature and wind, or 850 millibar level height, which is a little further up in the atmosphere, you'll see this color, this brighter blue colored area here. This is your below freezing in the upper atmosphere. Down here is 1 degrees, 2 degrees Celsius, or your above freezing area. Well, watch what happens as we go forward throughout this time frame. As we go to tomorrow morning, look up here in northern Arkansas, you're below freezing. at this level. So more than likely, they're going to be seeing snow up across the Arkansas-Missouri border. But look down here. That same area, like Mena, that same area that's below freezing or at freezing, you see in the Mena area is at 1 degree Celsius a little bit further up in the atmosphere. So what that shows you, you're going to have a warm layer. Now, once again, looking like we could get freezing rain out of this. There'll be that deep warm layer there. And then as temperatures fall, as rain or as the precipitation falls, it melts and then refreezes at the surface. That's what we're getting at with this. And if you look across the coverage area, this doesn't change throughout much of the day. We stay above that freezing mark and some warmer conditions there throughout most of the day, if not throughout all of the day. Then we start to see it drop below zero or below freezing there in the Celsius below zero, but below freezing across northern portions of our coverage area about that late afternoon time frame. And as you see that, that's where you could get that quick transition over to your winter or your wintry mix, sleet, and all of that fun stuff. Now, let's take a look at this at precipitation and show you what we're meaning. Once again, this is going to zoom in on the Arkansas area. There's Mena, there's Hot Springs, there's Texarkana, there's El Dorado. So as we go throughout the day today, not expecting a whole lot, but tomorrow morning you already start to see some rain by that 5 a.m. time frame. And up here across those northern portions of our coverage area, you do see some winter weather potentially mixing in up there. And then as we go forward throughout the day, you can see some scattered showers, some more just freezing rain in general there, and wintry mix. Then it really picks up as we go into the afternoon. And we're going to watch what temperatures do. Once again, you still have a few of these areas where it shows rain, but you got to remember, temperatures hovering right there around 33, 32 degrees. And if data is 1 degree off and it's 33 degrees is what data is showing, if it's 1 degree too cold or 1 degree too warm, you're at freezing and you're seeing more of a freezing rain mixture out of this. Then as we go throughout the day, you could see, as we move forward into the overnight hours, you could see some snow on the back end of that, maybe some sleet, and then it moves out. But let's take a look at wind chills. This isn't just going to, once again, this is just one model. I want to heed caution with this. We're going to show you the NAM here in just a moment, but if we take a look at temperatures on Tuesday, wind chill values are going to be cold, but look at this. This is potential wind chill values as you wake up Wednesday morning, and that's with the wind blowing. It is going to be windy on top of this as well. If we take a look at wind gusts, here's another concern. With that ice, you're talking wind gusts potentially up into the 20-mile-per-hour range throughout this time on Tuesday, and then overnight, you still see some 20-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So I am concerned that we may see some power outages out of this as well with those gusty winds, stuff of that nature. So now, let's take a look at this same stuff on the North American model, because remember, it's not just you can't look at one model and run with it. You got to get the general idea, and model guidance isn't everything. It's one of the many tools we use to build the puzzle, not the only tool. You're going to hear me repeat that a whole lot if you watch us. I just like to always say that. But this shows, once again, that same general thing, some rain, showers, maybe some sleet or some freezing rain, stuff of this nature. You start to see that increase as we go into the afternoon, and that continues into the overnight hours. Now remember, this goes 3-hour period, so I know it doesn't show a whole lot of moisture, but there's still going to be a decent chance or a decent amount of moisture that falls come tomorrow across the area. One thing we will have to watch is for that snow line is where we see that where we see some up to a trace to half an inch of snow. Data is continuing to go just a little further south on this, so we may have to bring that snow line just a little further south if conditions show that. Now, once again, taking a look at data right now, I think what we have right now of the far northern portions of our coverage area, the Ouachita Mountains region, northern Howard, Pike, over to northern Clark, maybe up to a trace to half an inch of snow will be possible for there, but this is not going to be a snow event. This is going to be an ice event. And if you look at temperatures on the North American model, once again, this has temperatures above freezing across the area at about 6 a.m., but once again, if it's a few degrees too warm, you're near freezing, and as we go throughout the day, those cool down by lunch, according to this, and that comes south and continues south throughout that time frame. Once again, if you take a look on a regional wide basis and we take a look at the upper atmosphere on these on the temperature side of things, if you take a look at the 850 millibar level heights, once again, same general thing. This is 12Z. This is the morning 6 a.m. time frame. If you look, this still has us a shallow warm layer, or a shallow warm, or a deep warm layer above us in the atmosphere. So while at the surface it's going to be near or at freezing, above us it's going to be a little warm. And once again, that's how you're going to get your freezing rain with this. That freezing rain's gonna fall. That precipitation's gonna fall, and it's gonna look like rain. Just remember that it's gonna look like rain. But as soon as it makes contact with that ground, if you're sitting at 32 or below, more than likely that's gonna freeze. Or well, not more than likely, it'll freeze on whatever it makes contact with. So one good thing to remember is if it's raining, once again, I fully expect road issues throughout I fully expect conditions to decrease, travel, maybe even power outages, because once again, we could have some gusty winds mixed in with this as well as we go throughout the day on Tuesday, and I don't expect it to get better Wednesday. And once again, as we just seen, temperatures are going to be cold Wednesday and Thursday as well with those wind chills. It's going to be windy with this as well, and it's going to make for wind chill values to be pretty cold, near single digits, or in the single digits, maybe even near zero in some places there. And once again, just be prepared. Once again, be on the lookout. We're going to have multiple updates out as we keep going forward with this. But you can see here, really, we don't see what northern Arkansas sees with temperatures in the upper atmosphere below freezing and getting they're going to get a decent amount of snow up here along the Arkansas and Missouri border. For us down here, not a snow event this time around. It's going to looks to be an icing event. Then as we start to go into the overnight time frame, you start to see that colder air start to move in further up in the atmosphere, and that's where you could get your little bit of snow and maybe some sleet mixed in with that as well. Taking a look at the 700 millibar level heights, you're going higher up in the atmosphere. When you look at this shows pretty much the same similar scenario going into tomorrow. Just above freezing, right at or just above freezing, literally right above our coverage area. And then as we go forward, you could get some cold air to come in at the 700 millibar level height. So right down here at the surface, you're going to have, or near the surface, or right above the surface, you're going to have that warm layer that's going to lead to that freezing rain, and maybe some, once again, it's a fluid. The atmosphere is a fluid, so you may get some wintry mix in there too. Maybe a few flurries and sleet in there. You got to remember that. It's a fluid. It's not a, we're trying to look at a three-dimensional thing on 2D images and maps. So just remember that. Once again, it's a fluid. You could have little areas. You could have little patches where you're at or above freezing, and there's just a whole lot that can go into it. Winter weather forecasting is probably one of the most difficult things in weather, just because this right here, you get a little area, like there could be a little area just over like a certain town in the upper atmosphere that may just be above freezing in a snow event up above us in the atmosphere, and that could ruin the whole thing for somebody. As we've seen, winter weather loves to have a sharp cutoff on snowfall. We've seen that last time, and just remember, winter weather forecasting is tough, but it's fun. Makes for a fun time for us forecasting wise. But as you see, pretty much we're going to get a freezing rain event throughout this. Not expecting anything really major in terms of snowfall. I do think ice will be a big potential with this. So as always, this is going to bring us to the end of the coverage, or end of the live stream. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them or any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and we'll get to them even after this live stream. Once again, though, just be ready, stay prepared. Expect condition. You're probably going to start out most areas, except probably up there in the Ouachita Mountains region, which is that Mena, Mount Ida area, Montgomery, Polk County, northern portions of Hot Springs County. You're probably going to start out with a cold rain across most of the area, except that Mena, Mount Ida, Ouachita Mountains region area where you could be at or below freezing at the start of this. But expect temperatures to slowly cool down and get near freezing or below freezing as we go throughout the day, and you start to see more of that freezing rain mixture and maybe some wintry mix as we come to the end of this event overnight, and expect this to stick around throughout it through the next few days. This isn't just going to be a one-day thing. Cold air is behind it as well. Temperatures are going to be on the cold side of things throughout the rest of this week. So just remember that, and just take it safe, and have multiple ways to I'm thinking of severe weather wise, but just have multiple ways to receive weather information as well. Keep an eye on it. Be on the lookout for more updates. We'll be here ready to have more updates as well. I don't see any questions, so I'm guessing that's a good thing. Once again, just going back through these maps here as I'm finishing up. Once again, just remember those potential road impacts. I fully expect this goes through 6 p.m., but I fully expect road issues to be an issue, even some power outages throughout the day or I expect those conditions to worsen as we go throughout the day Tuesday and into that Wednesday time frame. Once again, I just want to, as always, say a big thanks to all of our sponsors: Palmer's Roofing, Southern Dumpster Rentals, J&S Auto Supply, Landmark Insurance Agency, Patterson's Credit Union, Tan Energy and Nutrition, and Fort Smith Therapy. Make sure to check them all out over on Facebook. That'll bring us to the end of this live stream. As always, just have a good rest of your Monday. Once again, be on the lookout for more updates on the page. We'll have coverage throughout this whole event, and we'll be here ready to track the next system for you. As always, have a good rest of your Monday, and thank you guys very much for trusting us right here with your source for all things Southwest Arkansas weather.